Well, greetings to you on this wonderful day. Today is Tuesday, and it's February the 21st. Tuesday, February the 21st, and good to have you on. We are in Job chapter number 31. I trust that you had a good start to your week. You enjoyed your President's Day, kids back in school, all that good stuff, and here we are in the last full week of February, and hope you had a good day yesterday, and another good one today. A little bit, just a light dusting of snow. More snow coming is what they're saying, so we'll see how all that pans out. But let's go ahead and look at Job chapter 31. Encourage you, as you're just now jumping on, many of you, if you would hit that share button so others see that we've gone live and they can visit the live stream as well. Okay, now let's look at chapter 31 and let's look at verse number 13. Job 31 verse 13 says, "If I did despise the cause of my manservant or my maidservants when they contended with me, what then shall I do when God riseth up? And when he visiteth, what shall I answer him? Did not he that made me in the womb make him? And did not one fashion us in the womb?" What a great couple of verses here. Great reminders for us that we are all equal. We're all created by God. And Job says, in regards to even his treatment of his servants, his manservants and maidservants, that he was to treat them well. And they cared for him, they worked for him, they did their job, and he was to care for them. And he asked the question in verse over 15, "Did not he that made me," okay, didn't the God that made me, didn't God make them as well? And because God made both of us, because we're both equal in God's sight, we ought to treat each other well. And that, what a great reminder for us that as we look in our world today, there's a lot of talk about this people group going against this people group and so on. Realize we're all created by God. We are to love one another. We don't love the sin that we are involved in or that others are involved in, but man, we recognize that we're all created by God, and we ought to love one another and love them so much that we tell them about our Savior, Jesus Christ. And so there's no room in the believer's life for racism, for not liking somebody because of their skin color, their height, their lack of their weight, their lack of that. I mean, there's no room for that. Okay, we've all been uniquely created, uniquely gifted by God, and we are to love one another. And there is no reason. I want to be careful I say this. There's no reason. There's no point to having ill thoughts towards somebody, or there's no reason to make fun of somebody because of the way that God has created them. There's things about people that they cannot change. Their gender, can't change your gender, can't change your skin color, can't change how you can't say, man, I'm going to be this tall and purpose yourself to be that tall. You can't change that. But there are some things about our lives that we can change in regards to how we live, in regards to the decisions that we make, in regards to growing. I just a couple things that come to my mind. Some of the negative things, maybe our anger, maybe our bitterness, and there are other things. Those are things we can change. Okay, the fact that God reminds us in the scriptures of be ye kind one to another means that we can change some things about ourselves. So let's not mock and make fun of people for things that we can't change. That's the way that God has uniquely created us, and we are precious in His sight, and so people ought to be precious in our sight as well. And that's a great reminder that Job has for us in regards to just our treatment of others. I mean, Job, we know the employer and the servant there. I get that was a relationship there, but what a great truth of treating others appropriately. Now let's look at verse number 16. Let's continue to look at Job and his treatment of others. It says, if I have withheld the poor from their desire, or have caused the eyes of their widow to fail, or have eaten my morsel myself alone, and the fatherless hath not eaten thereof. For from my youth he was brought up with me, as with a father, and I have guided her from my mother's womb. If I have seen any perish for want of clothing, or any poor without covering, if his loins have not blessed me, and if he were not warmed with the fleece of my sheep, if I have lifted up my hand against the fatherless when I saw my help in the gate, then let mine arm fall from my shoulder blade, and mine arm be broken from the bone. For destruction from God was a terror to me, and by reason of his highness I could not endure. And so we see this, Job also speaking about how his treatment of other people, maybe that are less fortunate that he is, the poor, we would say the fatherless, and he's just stating the importance of caring for others. We note the poor in verse number 16. We note in verse number 17 the fatherless. Okay, we note that what Job says, the seriousness of the lack of caring for the less fortunate. He says, if I have lifted up my hand against the fatherless, okay, in verse number 21, going against the fatherless, when I saw my help in the gate, then let my arm fall off my shoulder blade. He's saying it's better for me to suffer than to reject helping and being an encouragement to others. And he says, and mine arm be broken from the bone. And so Job took this very seriously, his treatment of others, and really the opportunities that he had to help and be a blessing to others, he took very seriously. And we need to look for those opportunities when we are able, and when we have the capacity to help and be a blessing, we ought to seek to do so. And then it also going, the flip side of that is just, and we've already mentioned it, is just simply being kind, being loving toward others. That's really what Job is saying here. He's saying, have a heart for others. We can go to the book of Jude where it says, and if some have compassion, making a difference, that ought to be us, our care for others. Listen, we're not going to get along with everybody 100% of the time. We know that. There are going to be people that, for lack of a better phrasing, that drive us up the wall. There's going to be, they have their idiosyncrasies that are going to bug you. I get that. But at the heart of it, we need to look past some of those little things and love others and recognize that God has created them uniquely. That is so important. And then let's look, I think we'll try a couple more verses here and give you one more thought here. Job continues in verse 24. He says, if I have made gold my hope, or have said to the fine gold, thou art my confidence, if I rejoice because my wealth was great, and because my hand had gotten much, if I beheld the sun when it shined, or the moon walking in brightness, and my heart hath been secretly enticed, or my mouth hath kissed my hand, this also were an iniquity to be punished by the judge, for I should have denied the God that is above. And so just kind of two thoughts in regards to Job saying, hey, God should have judged me for this. If he had made gold his number one priority, finances, if he would have been materialistic in how he lived his life, that's a danger for us. Here in America, we're so blessed. It is a danger for us to be driven by materialism. I need to have this, have that, have that, have that. And if we're not careful, that can become our number one focus, the accumulation of things. Well, I'll be honest with you, you're not going to find a moving truck following a hearse. Okay? What do we know about the things of this life? They don't last. They'll break apart. They'll fall apart. They'll rot. They'll decay. Money is always fleeting. And so don't make those your number one. Job speaks to that here, just saying, hey, reject the materialism of this world, and let's make sure that we maintain the right focus. And then also, just kind of a quick couple thoughts here from beginning verse number 26. We see the sun, we see the moon, And we see Job mentioning his heart, and my heart hath been secretly enticed, or my mouth kissed my hand. Okay, what's he saying here? He's talking about the worshiping of God rather than the worshiping of heavenly bodies, the sun, the moon, and the stars, which many religions and people groups do. And then he gets a little personal. He says the worshiping of self. He mentions here even the kissing of his hand. And so we've got to be very mindful of what our focus is, not on materialistic things. We are to enjoy God's creation, not worship it, and we ought to be thankful for the life that we have, but we are not to worship ourselves. And so it's all about maintaining that right perspective, okay? I'm going to leave you those couple of thoughts for today, and hopefully it was a blessing for you here this morning looking into the Word of God. Let me give a couple shout-outs to those who are watching live. We'll pick up in verse over 29 tomorrow. Cliff and Karen, good morning to you. Ingrid, good morning to you. Love you. Have a great day. Paula, thank you for being on. Good morning to you as well. Jean, good morning. Have a wonderful day. Brian and Cindy will be praying for you as you travel. And have a good time as you are away. Charlie and Marcia, have a wonderful day. David, good morning. Jody, good morning. And Dennis and Geraldine, good morning to you both as well. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Be sure to like, share, continue to comment throughout. Ask if you would to pray for those of our number that need some prayer, that are going through some health issues and those types of things. So you be in prayer for our church family. I'm going to ask if you would pray for my family and I. We're going to be traveling to Florida probably Wednesday evening after church or Thursday morning. So we ask for your prayers there, and we'll miss all of you as we are gone. We're going to be together on a Power Up tomorrow. And we're going to try to continue Power Up while we're on vacation there. The timings might change just a little bit depending on the day, though. But thank you so much for being on today. Be sure to like and share. Have a great day, everybody.